coming on today, and definitely look forward to this presentation. Probably over the last month and a half, I've gotten a lot of emails and questions really talking about advertising and, if you should go that route and, is it valuable and can it bring in new business? And anytime we talk about online advertising, specifically now, there's definitely a lot of different things you can try to do to really pretty much pay to drive people to your website. And for some of you that have been members here a long time, you know that it was something that I was really heavily into from probably 1999 till about 2007. I was using Google pay-per-click advertising on a daily basis. So much so that I actually had my own rep at Google that would call me up every month to make sure I was okay. So what we're going to go through today is we'll talk about Google, we'll talk about some of these other things and if they're right for you. But I think it's important everyone understands that this stuff is serious business. I mean, this is why Google is a multi-billion-dollar company. And there are results to be had, but there is money to be lost as well if you fool around and don't know what you're doing. And I think it's just important to understand how it all works and what you can do and what your competition is up to. So today I want to kind of talk really mostly about Google, but I think it's important you understand that obviously Google has a pay-per-click method, but so does Facebook, so does LinkedIn. Obviously there's other things you can pay for online to advertise, Yellow Pages, Yellow Book, Manta, Yelp. I'll tell you right off the bat, and again, I've never used these things to be honest, but every insurance agency or agent I've ever talked to that has told me they were involved in the online Yellow Pages or using like Manta or Yelp, honestly 100% of them have told me they never got any results. So right off the bat, if you are spending any type of money to be listed in these things online, you may want to reconsider it. I'm not telling you you're not going to get results, but I'm just telling you from my experience and from talking to people, I've seen people on the other side of it where they've been doing it for a few years, and they just kind of say, I don't know. I always thought, the Yellow Pages online was the best thing, and they never got any results. So that's just the feedback I've gotten. But what I really want to focus on right now is I want to talk about Google because, in my opinion, that's where you guys stand the best chance, and that's where you can really get results. So what I'm talking about is if you go to Google and you type in a keyword, and what I've done right now is I've typed in health insurance, you'll see that on the left is where what are called the organic searches come in. You'll see eHealth insurance is number 1, U.S. government is number 2. But over here on the right and in this shaded area, so over here and over here, this is where you can get listed, but you have to pay. And again, this is how Google has become a multi-billion-dollar company. They're smart enough to know that there's a demand for people to want to be listed right out front in the front. So, so basically the way it works is you can set up what's called a Google AdWords account. And you can go in there and set up an ad. And you'll see here's an ad right now. Here's an example of an ad. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield has set up this ad, and you'll see it has a title, Family Health Insurance. It has their website, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, and it has their little, 2-line summary of why you'd want to click there. And I think it's important you guys understand that Google is so advanced now that it's smart enough to know where you're searching from. I'm obviously searching from New Jersey. So obviously the companies that are coming up on the right are New Jersey-centric per se. It's very, very, very detailed on what information it knows. So without kind of getting too confusing for you, it's important to understand that to know that these guys are setting up these ads. And what they're doing, what Horizon is doing, is they are actually bidding on a few different keywords that they put in. So they set up their ad, and then they type in the keywords that they want it to come up on. So obviously they've typed in health insurance. That's one of their keywords. And the way that they're coming out up top here, number 1, is they're outbidding all of these other ads. Okay, and if we kind of look here, there's probably, I'm going to estimate 10 ads on the first page. Okay, so to get in that number one slot, Horizon's paying the most money. And what that means is if someone actually clicks on this ad, Horizon is going to be charged whatever they bid. So let's just say, for an example, they've bid $5. Okay, so if I click on that ad, obviously I'm going to go to their website and to their landing page, and they just got charged $5. So that's where the pay-per-click concept comes in. What you do is you go in and you set up an ad, you set up the landing page, and then you say, hey, my budget each day is $30, and I'm going to bid, $5 per click, which means you're going to pretty much get 6 clicks a day. That's the reality. Now, the reality is, that depending on what you're trying to get, what type of business, maybe it's auto, maybe it's home, maybe it's health, maybe it's really niche-oriented, and it's, you're looking for crop insurance. The amount you're going to have to bid is going to vary, okay? So one of the things I've kind of tried to orchestrate here in today's webinar is that, and again, this slide just kind of talks about that I personally believe in this stuff. I think that any agency that's going to be cutting edge for the next 5 years has to at least understand what pay-per-click advertising is, okay? But again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of pitfalls. You can waste a ton of money, and most importantly, the competitors you're playing against, they mean serious, serious business, and they have big-time pockets. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to understand when you're going in. I don't know if let me see if I can kind of get back here on Google, but you'll notice that when I was on here, most of the ads are eHealth Insurance, United Healthcare, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, AARP. These are the insurance companies that are competing against you, okay? Obviously, United Healthcare, they're not bidding $30 a day. They're bidding, their pocket is probably $300,000 a day. Okay, they're not messing around. eHealth Insurance is probably pumping in $10 million a month. I guarantee it. That's how they do business. So my point is this. My point is you're never going to be able to go up against these guys blow for blow. But make no mistake, you can generate leads, you can generate sales, but you're going to have to educate yourself on how it all works, and you're going to have to kind of take the time to be an expert yourself. So tip number one. You can't pay somebody to do this for you. Odds are they're not going to figure it out for you. And again, most people have come to me and said, well, Ken, can you do it for me? And the reality is yeah, I could do it for you, but it becomes really a full-time job. And it's not economically worth it for me, and it's not economically worth it for you. So you kind of end up having to figure it out yourself. And what I've tried to kind of do here is kind of just outline, what I think it takes to be successful. So I kind of feel like I'm rambling on here, but I think my point is that to become successful with pay-per-click advertising, you're going to have to kind of fail for a little bit. I hate to say it. You are going to have to fail. You're going to have to go in there, and you're going to have to do a lot of trial and error. You're going to have to keep your budget small for a while. Learn how it works, see how things are happening, and then slowly increase it as you're getting more results. So that's the best tip I can give everyone. I had a call the other day from one of my clients. I had no idea he was doing this. Next thing you know, he told me he spent $10,000 last month trying to generate employee benefit leads in Arizona. And I was flabbergasted, and I started asking realistic questions. I said, well, where were you sending them? And he said, well, I was sending them to the home page of my website. I said, okay, that's bad. I said, what time of day what time of day did you have the ad showing? I don't know. I didn't even know you could control that. And I said, well, there you go. How many variations of the ad did you have? We only had one ad. We didn't have any variations. And I started to think, I said, this guy has no idea what he's doing. He just went in there. He thought he would bid as much as he could, and he got hammered. It's like he played blackjack and lost all his money. So my point is that it's very complicated. There's a lot of trial and error, but you can figure it out if you put the time in. So here are kind of some mistakes that people make, and here are the answers. So the first, and again, this is for anyone who's ever used pay-per-click advertising. Ken, I'm just not getting any clicks on my ad. Well, in my opinion, that means you need to use different keywords, okay? I had somebody who, I don't even remember. So that's one reason. I'm not getting any clicks. Maybe your keywords are way too radical. People aren't typing them in. They're too detailed. Or maybe you need to increase your bid. I had one person that was bidding like a quarter. And, because she was bidding a quarter, she was on page 10, not getting any clicks. So the good news is if you don't get any clicks, you don't spend any money. But on the flip side, why are you doing it, right? Next scenario is Ken, I'm getting a lot of clicks, but I'm not getting any leads. And that was kind of like that guy in Arizona. Too bad he never talked to me about it. But my point is this guy, he probably needed to either change his landing page. He was a full-service agency, and he was sending the people to his homepage, which is great, but he was marketing for employee benefits. He probably should have sent the people to his employee benefits page where they could have requested a consultation, where there was a call to action. A little mistake like that can be devastating. He also may have needed to change the content on the ad. If you're getting clicks and you're not getting leads, you may be getting the wrong type of people clicking on it. Maybe you're talking about health insurance and you're getting individuals instead of business owners. So again, my point is it takes a lot of trial and error. You need to set up different types of ads with different type of verbiage. The next kind of scenario is I'm getting leads, but they stink. I'm not selling any of the leads. It's kind of very similar to this one. Basically, it means you have a problem with the people who are coming and clicking on it and converting. You either need to change the ad, the actual verbiage, so it's more specific, or maybe you actually need to change some of your targeting. You actually have the ability to have the ad pop up for certain locations, certain wealth areas. If you're looking for high wealth people, you need to maybe calibrate that into your ad. So guys, this is pretty confusing, and I could talk about this for 3 hours. But I think my point is that pay-per-click advertising is what the top agencies are doing. Make no mistake about it. And it's what the carriers are doing for direct business. The problem is companies like eHealth Insurance, they actually probably have a whole department of about 50 people that sit there 8 hours a day analyzing these ads, making sure they're getting the right clicks and they're getting the right leads. And I think my point is this. My point is if you want to take the next step and be a little bit more aggressive, just know that when you go in, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something you set up and it goes on autopilot. It's something you have to kind of constantly monitor, like 4 times a day, make changes, trial and error. But if you can find that, if you can fine-tune it, especially if you're, if you're in the commercial business, you have a niche market, it can really help you get and attack your target market. So I guess my point is I'm trying to be blunt that you could lose money here, but I'm also trying to say, hey, if you can master it, it can be a huge asset and it can help you get to the next level, and you can definitely be very profitable from this. So I didn't really talk too much about the other advertising, Facebook pay-per-click, LinkedIn pay-per-click. In my opinion, I haven't seen too many results from that. It's very, very new, and those social media aspects are trying to copy Google. They're looking for ways to get more profitable. From what I've seen from a lot of agencies, they haven't really been hitting on those. Google still seems to be a much safer investment. But again, I think my point is that this has been going on now for 16 years in Google. And you just have to know, you have to educate yourself on this. Maybe even want to buy a book on Google pay-per-click advertising, and really just try to educate yourself and your team so that you can really compete and actually invest your money wisely. But obviously, as we keep moving forward here, this stuff becomes more and more and more powerful. There's just no way around it. There's just more and more people on the internet searching for things. So, hopefully this was somewhat interesting and at least educated you a little bit. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to everyone next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.